Zimbabwe, especially amongst young people, the issue of dangerous drug and substance intake. It's a menace, it's an enemy, and we need to treat it as such. The music of Emmanuel Chakanyuka, Siyai Zvinodhaka, hanzi munozvikoniwa ka imi kuerenga mabhuku, munozvikoniwa kunamata Mwari kana kushanda nesimba muchida zvinodhaka. A very special message coming from a good friend of mine, Emmanuel Chakanyuka. Salute, sir. Great production. So you can also go into YouTube and find out, like, share, subscribe this particular song, because we want that message to go out. But why am I here today? Once again, I'm here to talk about the issue of drugs. And today I'm going to talk about dealing. I know the minute that I link the word dealing with drugs, people think about, oh, he's going to talk about the supply. Yes, supply is something that we need to talk about, but maybe on another day. When I talk about dealing in relation to drugs, I'm not talking about the way that people are buying drugs or selling drugs. I'm talking about some of the reasons why people are ending up on drugs. And some of you have underestimated some of the causes, some of the push factors why young people especially are getting or finding themselves into drugs. Dealing. The whole issue is about dealing. On a day-to-day basis as adults, we are dealing with life's issues. We're dealing on how to put food on the table. We're dealing on how to get our children to school. We're dealing with relationships, husband, wife, in-laws. We're dealing with our own siblings. We're dealing with so many things, work, pressure. And this is adult life. However, as adults, I think we've underestimated that our young people today live in a very different world than we lived in. Now, we're not defending the young people, but the honest truth is, the world that young people live in today, 2024, is very different from when we grew up in the 90s, in the 80s. So let's talk about some of the things that young people are dealing with that could, and we pray not, that could push them into finding something that will intoxicate them so that they forget, so that they escape some of these things. What are young people dealing with today? Pressure is one of the biggest things. I hear you ask, what kind of pressure? That is a very common question, and I'm about just to give you a brief of this. Young people are dealing with pressure online. There's a lot of pressure. Your young boy or your young girl probably has a smartphone. And there's lots of pressure coming from Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, you name all those platforms. Fashion is giving them pressure. A good life is giving them pressure. Relationships that they see online are giving them pressure. They can't keep up. They're trying to keep up with trends. And sometimes you can't afford that. And so, what do they do to deal with that kind of pressure? I know you're probably saying, it's happening. They can't keep up with the pressure because it's right in their faces. It's right on their gadget. Ningani Zakati, all these guys live a beautiful life. Why can't I be like that? Why can't I be this light? Why can't I be this slim? Why can't I be this big? Why can't I be this beautiful? Why don't I have this kind of hair? Your young people are dealing with that kind of pressure. You need to look out for that. Relationships is another thing that's giving them pressure. Yes, young people are dating, even engaging in sexual activity at a much younger age. Some blame hormones, some blame social media, some blame education system. Whichever way it is, there is pressure. They are dating. You must know this. Your child in primary school is probably in a relationship. It's proven. It is proven that young people as young as primary school are in what they might call serious relationships. So look out, speak to your child, take time to speak to your child, watch them, observe them. Are they okay? If not, your child could find something to get themselves intoxicated, to deal with heartbreaks. Yes. To deal with being dumped. To deal with rejection. To deal with competition. Find out. Speak to your child. Take time and be the parent that you're supposed to be. What other things are they dealing with? Family issues. Yes, tinoziva noti chakafundisa dzimba matenga. Tinokuona muchifara kunzoku muchiita sei. Asi pamwe mumba umo mune mhiri zhonga. Maybe there's violence in that home, and the child cannot stand the noise, the fights, the way you hurt each other. Yes, violence is not good for children. Bad words, shouting is not good for children. It takes a toll on them. Umwendwana uzoti rega ndidhakwe zvangu. Rega ndiende kuchikoro ndinodhakwa. Kana kuti rega ndisatoende kuchikoro ndinodhakwa. Some of you parents are pushing your children into intoxication because they're trying to deal with it. They're trying to deal. Some of the youth that we've spoken about also speak about your behavior as a parent. Not about relationships, not about what's happening between you and your spouse, no. But behavior, some of you parents, your behavior, you are the one who's probably smoking to intoxication and you can't control yourself. You are the one who's living a careless life and your relationships are all over to a point where the child is embarrassed by your behavior. In your neighborhood, in your community, to a point where they say, intoxication is the answer because my parents are embarrassing me. My guardians are embarrassing me.